Okay, so here's my makeshift temperature chamber and the world's worst temperature controller. And I have this very simple Arduino sketch running on it. Well, I still have to figure out the what the transfer function is going to be because I know the counts for only one temperature. And well, this is exactly what I was afraid of. This kind of noise is annoying, and I'm not an expert programmer, so I'm not very sure of how to fix this. But there is one thing I can do. Hopefully this takes care of that. This should not happen. It's annoying. I still have to find a way to calibrate the temperatures inside. And I guess I'll have to end up using a medical thermometer, but then oh well, guess this can wait for a while. It's time for part 2 of the temperature chamber saga, and as you can see I have a duplicate set of parts here, but there is a difference. One of them I printed at home using PLA and the other I got it printed on robo.com in ABS because, well, ABS is more temperature resistant than PLA. There are definitely differences in quality. You can there's a kind of pattern on the layers over here, but PLA is all flat and the underside is smooth compared to my roughness. Well, because I printed stuck to the bed and they are probably using a glass bed of some type. There is some layer adhesion, bed adhesion issues in the corners, but apart from that it fits fine. I made it a little too loose, too much tolerance. The differences are most clearly seen on this smaller part, fan shroud. So well, now I have a thermal chamber that's capable of the temperature extremes. Now I just have to find a way to calibrate this thermocouple.
அந்த garbage dumper தெரியுது
as I was saying, I somehow have to get this thermocouple calibrated, and turns out it's not a linear relation between temperature and resistance, so that adds some complications. So it works now. I replaced the thermistor. It should be somewhere here. Okay, I have no idea. It should be somewhere here. I replaced the thermistor with an LM35 temperature sensor, which outputs 10 millivolts per degree Celsius, and well, that's quite easy to read with an Arduino. So that's what I did, and now the temperature chamber works. There are some limitations, however. The temperature maxes out at around 70 degrees Celsius, and I think that's mainly because there's a lot of heat leaking out of this thing. This thing is getting quite warm. I need to find an effective insulating material and I have no idea what to use. I might have to redesign this thing after all. So 45-46 degrees Celsius and the room temperature is like 30. Excuse me. Okay, at least now I know that this thing works. Perhaps I might have to make another revision, but this time maybe a metal can, but then I'll have trouble interfacing the Peltier module with the thermal chamber, and then there are questions of insulation. So I guess this is revision 1 now. Today's package is a test of Robo.in's laser cutting service. So I got some 3mm acrylic laser cut. So let's see how. Well, I was expecting a large box, but why waste cardboard on something like this when you can just wrap it in tons of impossible to get through bubble wrap. I am an impatient person, so there's a good chance that I'm going to ruin whatever is inside. Okay, maybe that was not, diagonal was not the best cutting strategy. And I keep hitting my keyboard. There we go. It looks legit. At last, that took long enough. So of course this is a part of the never-ending thermal chamber saga because my god, that's a large ziplock, because my Peltier based thermal chamber idea kind of failed. It didn't get up to 100 degrees Celsius and I need 100 degrees Celsius. Oh great, they broke it. Congrats. I guess it's time to file a complaint. So these 4 pieces look fine, but the large piece arrived broken. Should I complain about it? Should I just super glue it? And we can see the laser cutting marks. Now let me see. It does seem to fit together fine. Or maybe I think this goes here. Yes. And that goes like this. Well, I mean, after all, I'm the person who designed this, so okay, there we go. Looks like it does fit after all. It's supposed to go like this, 3 mm overhang on top. That is correct. And this thing goes on the son of, oh never mind, no swearing on camera. Okay, fine, this part fits together fine. Okay, looks like all my dimensions were 100% correct. So let me temporarily tape this together. Well, I guess I can recommend not getting parts that are too large made. I will file a complaint, but then I will have to find a way to reuse it. Cannot waste that much acrylic. Smells like burnt plastic, which is a side effect of the laser cutting process, I'm guessing. Oops. Okay. Well, one of the unfortunate facts of life is that tape doesn't want to hold up. Let me just show you what I'm going to do with this. Move the camera here to my 3D printer. This is my 3D printer's build plate. Ignore all the other stuff. Ah, okay, okay, great. The whole thing collapsed. This thing is supposed to form. Fine, I'll just put it together. Maybe it's finally time for the satisfying unpeeling. Unpeeling? Peeling. Unboxing. Huh. Okay. Please peel off properly. Well, looks like today is not my lucky day. Acrylic gets scratched really easily. Meh. Right. Finally got it assembled. It looks good and I hope it works just as well. So let me turn on my 3D printer as per plan. And well, this crack, I don't know what to do about it. I'll probably just super glue it in place. Ugly but effective. So this is where the DB15 or was it DB9? Probably DB9. DB9 port goes, and using these four holes, I'm going to suspend a kind of basket that contains the device under test. And as for the fan, well, I have no idea. I should have thought about it before. Maybe a couple extra holes somewhere here. So now let me control temperature of the bed. So let's set it all the way up to 100 degrees C and hope it survives. Can already feel the plate getting a little warm. So in the final version, I'm going to control it through the USB port using a Raspberry Pi, which will also be controlling the multi-slope ADC that's going to do the 6.5 digit level data logging. So okay, 100 degrees Celsius, and the sides are warm and it gets hotter as we go down. I don't want to make the mistake of touching the build plate. Definitely feels warm on top, and if I stick my finger in, well, I don't sense much of a temperature difference. Perhaps a fan inside to circulate the hot air will work wonders. So I have to get hold of some super glue to put all this together and then somehow set up a fan and a temperature sensor on the inside. After all that drama, I have this setup, which is a bit crazy, so let me explain. Multimeter, acrylic temperature chamber, 3D printer bed set to 100 degrees Celsius. Focus. LM35 temperature sensor, battery, a 12 volt adapter that runs the fan inside. And well, hopefully the temperature inside in wow. Let me try again. Hopefully the temperature inside should reach 100 degrees Celsius. And it is well on its way. So let's see how this setup works out. In the end, it got only up to 77 degrees Celsius or thereabouts, even with the bed temperature set to 110. The fan inside seems to be quite effective in spreading the heat from the build platform to the air inside, and quite hot to the touch. I can't really hold this for more than a couple of seconds. So I guess I'll have to do something else now. This material called glass wool board seems to be rather cheap on Amazon, so I might try that. Well, at least we got this far. 7 degrees Celsius hotter than the previous version of this thing. Today's high score is 82.2 degrees Celsius so far, and it just keeps climbing. My printer went into thermal runaway once, so I have the bed temperature set to 109. And the magic ingredient is cardboard. Apparently, you can see how thick it is. I can touch the walls now without. Looks like someone is watching James Bond. Well, I can touch the walls without burning myself, so that's progress. And this white stuff is basically water that's being outgassed by the cardboard. Hopefully, that will go away in some time. That might be limiting the actual temperature it can reach. There aren't many exit points, so I might still consider something like glass fiber insulation. After what seemed like forever and an infinite number of updates, the temperature chamber finally reached 100 degrees Celsius. So this white stuff is not cotton, it is aluminum silicate insulating blanket, which is apparently not good for your lungs. Well, let's just say I followed precautions. I cut it up in the balcony wearing a surgical mask. So my LM35 temperature sensor reads 100 degrees Celsius and the outsides are barely warm. This one uninsulated part is super hot and the air temperature inside is 100 degrees Celsius while the bed temp is 109. I have the fan running inside. So it looks like this project is finally done. Phew.